So I'm delighted this morning to be with Will Stokes, who's going to be with us on the 28th of October. It's a Thursday evening. Will, most people know you for Coast Space. Your background goes back a little bit further than that. But for most people, what's interesting is Coast Space. And as Jack outlined last week, Jack Jiggins of XP Property, you're one of the few people sort of like in our circles who's moved into the commercial space where some people have been a little bit off-put, resisting to do that. The key question is, and what Jack outlined in the video last week, is about how you structure deals. And Jack says it's really good. He's really impressed. So do you want to just explain what makes you different, why you'd go into commercial, and why you're good at structuring deals, or how you structure deals? And of course, on the 28th, you go into a lot more detail, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and thanks to Jack, my double, my twin. But yeah, no, we're quite unique. I mean, I prefer commercial to resi. Resi's a bit more kind of sit there passive. With the commercial stuff, unless you're a big landlord owner, you tend to be more involved in some form of operations. If you're lucky enough to get a unit away to Costa for 10 years, then you're fine. But for us, we look at units that we can actually operate, and that's the other half of our business. You know, we're half property, half operations. How we structure the deals is quite unique. It tends to vary whether we're purchasing or leasing. If it's a purchase, it's pretty straightforward. It's some development finance that's kicked in. It's normally a private investor or working capital that goes towards the initial purchase, and then the rest is brought in through development finance, purchase finance, 65 of each. Sometimes gear it a bit higher with some mezz or some stretch senior, but it tends to be where the deal stacks. But that model works really well regionally. It doesn't work as well down below somewhere like, say, Albans. Down there, unless you've got really deep pockets, you're probably looking to lease, and then you're getting quite creative with your deal structure. So it's pretty straightforward for us in terms of what we look for, but actually negotiating it's a lot harder. So the first thing is, you know, a 15-year lease. I won't say we're in a position of strength, but we have a lot of experience in operating space now, and we know what needs to happen in terms of all the jigsaw pieces that come together, from how we configure the HVAC to the product that we actually fit out and what those costs are. We've got really good and really lean at providing that. And so for us, we get quite, what's the term I'm looking for? We get quite stiff in terms that we'll agree to. So, you know, we'll do 15-year lease. We might look at a 10-year lease. We want breaks for us only at 5 and 10. Normally, we end up having to negotiate those being mutual or some kind of penalty if we to exit on those. We look at reduced deposits swapped out with group guarantees because we're willing to take that risk. We will put in deposits if needed, but ideally we prefer not to because it ties up capital that can be spent on the site. Whereas a group guarantee is a bit more secure and probably is much better for those landlords, especially institutions that are looking at it. And then it comes down to the fit out of the space, which is, you know, we know that our product is £100 square foot. It's 10 a square foot to furnish, so 110, you know, 115 all in. And then the negotiation becomes, okay, well, who's paying for what? You know, are we putting our hand in our pocket for it all? If we are, then we want this kind of rent deal, whether it be a turnover deal or whether it be a straight lease. If they're going to put in for quite a bit, then the deal changes. But the fundamental of the deals we're doing are turnover leases. So we look at buildings as partnerships more than just, you know, taking a unit off of a landlord. And what we offer is, so I've got a deal that's like this at the minute. So, you know, rents in the area are 22.50 a square foot. We've agreed a base rent of 15 a square foot, and then we pay a percentage of EBITDA. So turnover lease, we pay a percentage of EBITDA, which at 85% occupancy, if we're operating the space like we should be, and based on the cash flow model that we provide day one, we say, right, your return is now 25 square foot. So you've got an extra, you know, 10% on top overage that we'll give you if we succeed in this site, and here's how it looks. We're very open and transparent with the figures because we normally, you know, I don't think there's any point in not being. We're quite partnership driven. We look for landlords that we can work with, and that tends to be bigger institutions.